Thank you so much for joining me today. Our topic today is Zoho CRM, specifically making custom modules. And this is beyond the basics of what comes out of the box in your CRM. So I want to start today's conversation by asking you a silly question maybe. If you have a notes section, for example, that is just full of all this critical data, but you can't report on it. I have seen this so many times where people are trying to capture information in something like a notes field or a random multi-line text field in the counts module or contacts module, when really it's not something that they can access easily. So it leads us to ask the question, what are the nouns that define your business? So in real estate, it might be properties. In manufacturing, it might be machines. In finance, it might be loans. In lots of different sales departments, it might be commissions. It might be agencies. These end up being unique entities that are important to your business process, but for some reason, you're tracking them in some other place instead of giving them their own home. And when you give them their own home, that is when it needs a custom module. So, hi, I'm Candice Riso. I'm certified in lots of different Zoho apps. I've been a partner with Zoho for about 8 years. I've been a user for 9+ years, and I have a background in marketing and sales. So I approach Zoho in a different way from many others. I'm not a IT guy or IT gal. I just love making process come to fruition, but based on actual business strategy. So let's talk about some use cases first, before I even get into demoing. In the industry, real estate, for some reason, you're storing all your property details in the deal itself. Well, that doesn't make sense, does it? Because properties have a lot of other information. So your custom module could be properties, right? That's where you can put the square footage, the actual full address, the year it was built, all the utilities, the number of rooms, etc. In construction, you might have sub-projects, maybe a master project and sub-projects, but for some reason you're tracking it in the account record in a notes field. Doesn't make sense. So instead, you can make a projects module and just track all those individual timelines and budgets for each job site, even if it's related to the same account. And for finance, it might be that you're constantly updating contacts because people are always getting new jobs. So you keep overwriting that account field, so you lose the data on where that contact worked. Instead, you can make a work or account history module that just shows the timeline. This contact worked at this bank and that one and this one, and they moved all around, but now you've got the full history. You don't lose that information. So these are just some of the examples of how you can go from messy, right, overwriting data, shoving in places that doesn't make sense, to making it useful. So before I actually do the demo, one last thing, I want to define a module. So a module in Zoho CRM, I want you to think of it as a bucket or a place for very specific types of records that have the same information that or kind of information that they're collecting. And then a lookup field, this is the powerful thing that it makes the new module potentially and has new fields. It's the way you make relationships. So when you're in a contact, by default, you'll always see that account lookup field. That is a default functionality. That makes a relationship between your contact and your account. Similarly in your deals module. And these are what create the related lists. So if you're in your CRM right now and you have it open on your screen, maybe next to the screen you're looking at with me, if you are in your account module or contacts module and you have deals back and forth with that contact or that account, you'll see a related list called deals. That's because there's a lookup field in your deal. So these are important concepts to understand as we get into what custom modules are and how you can very easily make them. So as my demo, and I'll just pull this up in a second, these are the 4 things I'm going to do. I'm going to create a new module called commissions. This is a very common request we get. How can we track commissions for our sales team? Or how can we track commissions paid out to these third-party contractors? We're going to add the fields. We're going to make sure we have our specific lookup fields, such as the deal, And then I'm going to show you the results, what it looks like in the related list. So let's go directly into the CRM. Here I am in Zoho CRM. This is my demo account. So the data is, pretend. If you go into your setup, so that's going to be your cog or gear, just note that no, it is going to remain in the top, bottom left. I think in the new UI, there's the UI update, you might actually find this gear cog in the top right. Just know that you're looking for the gear/cog. When you click on that, you're in your setup. Under customization, go to modules and fields. It'll eventually load. There we go. So I'm going to start by just clicking create new module. So this is a really fun new option. I don't want you to get overwhelmed by this, but it's organization modules versus team modules. In this case, I'm going to keep it simple and make it an organization module. If you want to talk about team modules, we'll talk about that separately. We went over that during the CRM for Everyone webinar. By default, it just kind of gives me some fields. So I'm going to start by saying I need a lookup field that goes to my deals module, right? So I'm going to add that lookup field. Just drag and drop it. I'll call it related deal or commission deal or commission. The lookup module I choose is the deals module. And I'm just going to call this commissions, right? Or no, maybe it should be deal commissions because it can get confusing. Your related list title can get really confusing because this is what you're actually going to see when you're in. Actually, I have a better idea. I'm going to call this related deal. That might be a better name. So when you're actually in the commission record, you would see the related deal. I'm going to say that this is required because we absolutely need that in order for this to work. And then for the untitled name, what we can do is we can call this commission name. And we can actually switch it to an auto-generated number or just call it commission number. And that makes life a lot easier. Maybe it's just C dash and starting number is 0. Make it really simple. So that's going to make your life easier if you choose an auto number for something like this. So you don't have to write in a deal each time. Now the untitled owner. So this is going to look at usually a user. Yeah, I guess that's what I want to do, is we want to look at the user's email. Oh, did I just click? Yes, I did. I clicked the wrong thing. And this is untitled, that's why. I didn't call it commissions yet. So I'm going to call it commissions. Oh, I'll call it deal commissions. I must have already made this module once. So here's your deal commission owner. Now this is just who created it, but with an automation, we could theoretically also say this is who's getting paid. I might also recommend having a percentage field, like what is the commission percent? And then you can have a formula field if you want to get really fancy. Or should I first say probably need an amount field. Where's my currency? Here's my currency field. Commissionable amount required. I'll also make this one required. And now I can add my formula field that says payment amount. And it's decimal, it's 2. Now, if you're not comfortable with formulas, it's okay. There's always people like me who can help you. But basically, you're going to say, what field am I calculating? I'm going to say commissionable amount times percentage. You can check your syntax. I have no errors. That's great. Tooltip, double checking my stuff right, done. So now when I put something in the amount field, and I put something in the percent field, it will calculate my percent amount. I'm going to get rid of this secondary email. I don't really need that. Same thing with email opt-out. Let's see, we also need maybe a status field. Status. In review, scheduled payment, maybe paid. I'm making this up, so bear with me. And we can even put on history tracking if we want on this. And yeah, I think that's good. Done. And a date. Well, we'll get a date from the created by, but I guess we could have a payment date. And that's pretty much all we need. We don't really even need the email here. I guess I could leave it and just put it in this lower section. I'll call it additional information. I'm going to ignore the connected to that has to do with the modules and connecting them that way. So if we want, the deal owner again, it could be the creator. I'm actually going to add another lookup field, because what if you're not paying out a salesperson? What if you're paying out one of your business contacts? Like somebody referred this business, referral contact. And that should be everything we need. So just to recap what I did, I added a lot of fields. Not a lot, but the important fields, right? So we've got a default auto-generated number. We've got the related deal. We've got a status field, a payment date. Who's our referral contact? Who's the deal commission owner? What's the percentage? What's the total amount? And then a formula field. This is how we can calculate commissions, right? So I'm going to save. And next I'm going to decide, well, who can see this? Now, I'm in a demo account, so it doesn't matter, but I can say who in my organization can see this based on their role. I only have these two. You also can decide if you have multiple CRM team spaces, which one it goes to. For the sake of keeping things organized, I'm going to put it under the finance group. It's just something I already did that's in here. And now I have a new module. So let's go look at that user experience. So let's go up to deals. I'm in my deals module. You can tell I was playing with different views last time I was in here. Let's find a deal. Fake deal from Zoho. Perfect. So I have my fake deal from Zoho. And now you'll notice, my goodness, I have so many related lists in here. I need some related list cleanup. But this is my demo account, so that's probably why I did it. And you can see, remember when I was saying, oh, I should call this related deal. I should have called it related deal commission. So that's my first thought in looking at this. I'm also going to move this up my list so I can see it. So I don't have anything. So I can click new. And here is my commission record. It's going to be for Art Vandelay. This is going to be in review. We haven't paid him yet. His commission percent is 5%, and I can put the commissionable amount is $1,000. So this is a little bit manual. We can also automate some of this process. I'm going to click save, just so we have it. I'm also, because I'm feeling a little OCD, I'm going to click the pencil and say related deal commission. And you may actually have multiple people getting a commission. By default, the related list only gives you commission number in the email. Not useful. So just click the customize your pop-up and change it to the fields that are actually useful to you. Commission percent, commissionable amount, status, payment amount, don't really need the email. How about that? That's a little bit more useful. Well, and I said $1,000. So one of the things we could, in theory, do is say, hey, grab the amount from this deal and populate it in here. Now that's a little fancy, so I'm not going to necessarily do that. But that is something you could do. Something else you could do is make a simple automation that says, when I make a commission and the status is in review, send an email to this other user. So let me just pull back my presentation again. Yeah, this is a very simple one. When a deal is set to close in one, and I made this up, if the referral contact is populated, then create a commission record. So let's just try to pretend make a commission record. Again, I'm going to go to my setup. I'm going to go to workflow rules. And I want to make sure I don't have any. Yeah, we're going to turn off the big deal alert. That is the funniest one. I want to make sure I don't have any. Oh, calculate sales commission. See, I've already played with this, and we have a fancy custom function. So I'm not going to do that. Let's see. Update deals, one deal. This is create a project from one deal. I'm going to make a very, very simple one. This is something you can do easily without us, but if you want to get fancy, let me know. Create commission record. So it's a deal. When a deal action is created or edited, and here's my criteria, where the stage is 1. And you could add other criteria in here, like, and you also could, instead of just doing created or edited, you could say when only edited, and you could say a specific field, and you could say stage. Actually, I probably should do it because that's better. All 1 stages. And then my criteria could be something more specific. Maybe I could add a checkbox that says this is commissionable, right? Where the type is new business. Maybe I only pay out commissions on new business. We'll go with that. So now I can find create record in my actions. And let's find our commissions, deal commissions. And I can say the related deal is the parent deal. They make it very easy for you. And I could say deal commission owner is the, well, in my case, it's going to be Art Vandalay, but I could just say the logged in user. Commission percent maybe defaults to 6%, and commissionable amount is the deal amount. Save. I'm going to click save again. I now have this workflow. So let's try it out. I'm still in my deals. Let me find a deal that is new business, but not, here we go, test company. Let's play with this one. We're going to add an amount of $5,000. We're going to change the date to today. And just going to double check some of these things. Do I have all my fields? We don't really need a contact, but I'll put it anyway for good measure. Because you can see we also were testing doing the commission directly in the deal. That is another way you can do it. But if you have multiple commissions, that's when you want that commission record. So let's click it to closed one. It wants me to confirm my amount and closing date. Looks good. Save. And now we're going to refresh our screen. Uh-oh, I'm not seeing my related deal commission yet. Oh, it's thinking. Hold on. Maybe I did it too fast. Perhaps I did something wrong in my workflow. Let's go check it out. Actually, let's first check our timeline. Oh, it's because I've got these other things running. But we can see it was triggered, create commission record. Oh, that's interesting. It got triggered, but maybe it failed. So this is a great way for you. I mean, look, I'm human. I make mistakes. type is new business. Here's new business, right? Did I mess that up maybe? Nope. We're going to go to view usage and to check it out. One deal commission created. It's not showing up in my related list. Now that doesn't really make sense to me. So let's go to my deal commission records. There's CO2. Oh, I must not have mapped the related deal. I thought I did, but perhaps I did not. And this is how we can do very, very basic troubleshooting. So let's look this up. Oh, I did parent deal. That was my mistake. Current record. That's what it should have been. See, that was my mistake. And by the way, I can add more fields. So if I wanted to say referral contact, if we had a referral contact field, I could say status is in review. I can set these other things up if that's what I want to do. And email is, it says contacts, I want user email. Look at us troubleshooting on the fly. I'm proud of us. I guess that's me, but nonetheless, we're all in this together. Let's find another one to make another deal commission. Here we go, Chapman. Let's update Chapman. We're going to switch it to new business. We're going to change our date to today. And anything else I need? No, I think we're looking good. Set it to closed one. Click save. Better work this time or I'm going to be pretty embarrassed. There's my related deal commission. Beautiful. So now I can see that's a good commission percentage for that person. So that would be if it's a user. Now you could also go in here into this layout, and if you wanted it to be like a referral contact, we could do a referral contact and we could map that field from your deal over there. So it just depends on what your use case is, but you could do that. And then what I like is the default that you can always add notes, like this is going to be paid late because Joe is out of town, right? And so now if Art Vandelay wants to know where his commission amount is and he sees his commission record and somebody else from the team leaves this note, he can go, oh, okay, I'll be patient, and he'll understand. So that is one of the many automations that you could do within the CRM to just help you expedite using your customer. So the next thing is just making a good user experience. And I kind of showed you some of that, but let's just go back in really quick and talk about that. So in here, I did also include status history. Maybe this is in review, and now I'm making it for scheduling payment. So turning on things like status history can be really helpful in terms of your reporting. You also could have automated an email that comes out of here. In terms of this commission details, I'm probably never going to use open activities. I can get rid of that. Same thing maybe with attachments. Anything I can do to simplify this user experience is going to make it easier for people to manage. And the same thing if I go back into the related deal. I mean, look, this is my demo account, so I have everything showing. But I showed you how to rearrange these so you can move them up and down. Again, I want to remind you, you can always customize your list here. And I can, maybe put it here. Doesn't really matter. Whatever details are useful for you to see, you can do that. The last thing is you can always use things called client scripts, which is kind of when you get like that pop-up screen. And I can't think of a client script that I have live right now in this demo account. But the point is you get like a pop-up screen. Potentially when I clicked closed in one and you saw that pop-up screen getting me to confirm the amount, that's a default action. But you could have a custom one, a client script, pop up and say, please confirm this is the person getting a commission. And you can say, yes, that's exactly what I want. Alternatively, you could use what's called a kiosk. And that's more like a guided user experience, like a wizard. So I'll just point out where kiosks are. Kiosk Studio. This is really good if you have a big team and you need to guide them through a process in your business. So this presentation today is not about kiosks, but if you want to dig into that and discuss it, I'm happy to. So back to, presentation mode. After hearing all this, thinking about your own business, what is one noun in your business that could be a custom module? And feel free to put it in the Q&A. And Ashley's keeping an eye on the Q&A for me. So if you have something you want to share, I'm totally happy to hear it. One noun that's in my business, I realize that's important, is case studies. So we recently updated our case studies module and added some automations. So if I make a quote in my quotes module, I send that to the client, they approve it, we do the process. Now that quote is always tied to a deal, right? So that's one related list, right? Those are just default, but they're related. When I change the deal stage to project complete, it also updates the quote to quote complete or something. When a quote is set to complete, it grabs data from that quote and drafts my case study for me. Brilliant, simple, so useful, because now I have this dedicated case studies module I can reference when someone says, have you ever? And I can grab the data from there and draft a mail merge document to make it a beautiful PDF or even a blog post. So when this webinar is over, you will get an email with the custom module checklist. This is the high level, but these are the key things I want you to go through. First, I want you to ask why. What is the strategic alignment within my business that really requires a custom module, if at all? 2, relationship mapping. What other module is this a relationship to? Is it commissions to a deal? Is it properties to an account? Is it loan requirements to a contact? Then your field list. So that's like your data architecture, so to speak. What important fields do I need in there? Which ones are required and which ones are just handy to have? And then automations and workflows. This is where you might end up just having to call me, honestly, but you may think of a really great automation you can do yourself, just the way we created the record together today. And we got to troubleshoot it. So you can see when you mistakenly put the wrong field and it didn't work. And then I want you to think about user permissions. Who can see this custom module? Who can edit this custom module? Maybe who is not allowed to see any of it or edit any of it. And then last is data migration. If you've been tracking things in a spreadsheet or putting it in notes, what is the plan to get all that other stuff into this new module so that you can actually report on it or use it as you move forward? And that is all I have for today. Thank you so much for your time, everyone, today. Have a great day.